Where's the scenes?
Good morning, everybody. I think we're live. Are we live?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Bill. Hi, everybody. Welcome. 8 o'clock in the morning from Seattle and 10 o'clock in Central. I think it's 11 o'clock Eastern Time, and I think it's some like 4 p.m. Europe, right? So welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. How are you guys all doing? If you on already and you're coming in, and I'm gonna speak and talk until you guys are chiming in. Let me know where you are, your name, how are you doing from 1 till 10, how you feeling today. Some of you might be already working, some of you might not be working. So let me know how you guys are all doing. Yeah, welcome everybody. Good morning, everybody. So excited to be here to share with you some really good things today on very important subject, right? So we're going to talk a lot about communication today, and communication is where it's at. Everything starts with communication. Good morning, Dory. Good morning, Shelly. Hi, everybody. Just chiming in. So good to see everybody. It's beautiful, beautiful in Seattle. It's gorgeous. We're supposed to have about 80 degrees week. That is unheard of. It is May, and we're looking to get some beautiful. We're just got our quarantine into phase one, kind of lift off. Some state parks are open. You can go out there. You gotta be safe. You gotta wear your mask. You gotta make sure you keep your social distancing. So yeah, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. As you know, my name is Ronit, and I'm the founder of Salon Cadence Academy. It's a training and coaching company that helps high achievers, beauty professionals, have very profitable and successful careers so they can achieve the life that they want, so they can have the legacy that they want, and lead a happier life. So why am I here? Because we decided when this whole thing happened to take advantage of being at home and reach out to all of you out there and support you going through these challenging times. Now we are kind of moved on from the most challenging time of the beginning, and now we are on the search to go up and to thrive. Now we know that unless we change, we cannot thrive at all circumstances. So today we're going to talk about a couple of things that we need to tweak, to change, to enhance in order to be better communicators, right? So we're going to talk about the most important thing, I think, if you ask me today, if I had to go back to school, what would I go to school for? Other than being a hairstylist, of course, this will never change. If I have died today and came back, I would still be a hairdresser because there's just nothing better than that, right? So I will totally do that. But I would go to school, and I would go and definitely be in a high education. I don't know if I don't know about you, but I've always wanted to go to college. I've always wanted to go to university. But for some reason, I chose not to. For some reason, life happened the way it was supposed to happen. As you know, I believe that life happens for you and not against you. And life has happened, and I did not go to college, but I've always felt void about that. I always felt like I was missing something. I felt like maybe I wasn't smart enough. And I was always kind of like looking at other people that went to college and universities and graduated from them with all many kinds of degrees. I always felt like, why, Mom? I wanted to do this. And I didn't. I chose to do other things. And like, for example, I chose to be a flight attendant. I was a soldier in the army. I became a hairdresser. I became a mother, and so life has been calling on, but I've always wanted to go to school. And as you know, I love business. Business is my passion. I believe that there's major art to business. And if you learn how to create great business practices, you'll be very successful in your artery, in your creative world, right? You cannot just have, you cannot just be a starving artist or a starving musician. You gotta support that so you can enjoy that kind of a life, right? So, um, if I had to choose of what I would go to school for, if somebody asked Ronit 10 years, or if I told Ronit 20 years ago, what would I go to school for? The number one thing I would say is communication. Learn how to communicate. Learn how to do business communication, and learn how to create a really good practices of language, how to speak. So important. And so those are the things that I had to learn to become really very good communicator, right? So communication is so very important. More than that, words are very powerful. So we're going to talk about the power of words today. So I'd love to know how you guys are all doing, chiming in. Give me a thumbs up if you're doing great, or 1 till 10, how you doing? From 1 till 10. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Dory. Hi, Elvie. So good to see you guys. 1 till 10. How you guys are all doing? Now, if you are doing a 10, I'm so happy to hear it. And why not? Why can't you just be in a 10, right? I woke up today on the highest note. I was Kimberly, I was a 7 today. And right now, I'm a 9.5. I wrote down 3 things that I was really grateful this morning for. My gratefulness journal is a must. If I deviate from that, my day could stay in the 7, right? So I really went into my grateful, in which we're going to talk about next week. Yeah, 9.5. Bonnie is 9.5. Amy is 9. I love this. I mean, can you guys see? We're on the surge. We're going to thrive like nothing else. We're going to go back like nothing else. We're going to be so strong, but we're going to be smarter. So much smarter. Why? Because we took about 5 to 8 weeks of learning. We had so much in-depth learning. We had our amazing, beloved industry has been so united, and we have got so much precious education for all of that. Hi, Heather. 7/8. Well, I'll tell you, by the end of this episode, you're going to be at your 10. So 3 things you guys are most grateful for this morning. Why don't you just put them right in there? Even if it's one. Hi, Jeslie. One thing that you are very grateful for. So this morning I got up and I said, oh my God, I'm so grateful for Huddle Time with Ronit. I'm grateful for Huddle Time with Ronit. And why am I grateful? Well, for one thing, I'm grateful to talk to you guys. I'm grateful to be at help. I'm grateful to have the enjoyment. My husband and I will learn through this process how to create a podcast, how to work on Facebook Live, how I met so many incredible people. So there's a lot of grateful things that comes from being grateful, right? So that took me for about 10 minutes. And I wrote down a whole thing. Why am I grateful for Huddle Time? And Kathy, you're at 8. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see those numbers. Kimberly, you're a 7. We're going to get you up to 9, girl. Okay, so here's the thing. I would like to bring in already, because we are 10 minutes into the show. Shelly, you're an 8. I'm so excited. We're 10 minutes into the show, and we can talk a lot about communication and words, and I want to bring my special guest. But before I bring my special guest today, I want you to know that for the next 2 weeks, we have extraordinary themes and topics. Today is one of my favorite topics. It's so dear to me. This Friday, we're going to talk to Dr. Evan Hirsch. He's a fatigue and energy doctor. So he's going to teach us how to keep our immune system so strong to prevent any kind of viruses coming and touching us. And how do you create more energy during your day? Because we're going to go into an environment that is going to require us to have and spend a lot of energy. So we're going to speak about that. So this is this Friday. Next week, we're going to have 2 more special topics that are going to be talking about breath, the use of breath, meditation, yoga, And how do you create even more energy and positive energy and happier life? So we're going to have that, and I have a very special guest next week as well. I can't share with you all of that in the next 2 minutes, but I'm so excited. Anyway, today I have a very special guest. I have met Bonadeo. I don't know, I sent her a text message with that picture a few years back in Las Vegas in Cosmoprof. We just got introduced. We are a couple of good friends of us, Bonnie Conti and Rowena, as you might all know. And ever since, there was a little touch points that we have met each other through conferences, through classes, through many of our industry events. And each time there was another layer of onion that we put on and got to know each other more. So relationships are something that I hug and I cherish more than anything. And the minute I fall in love with somebody, I try to get to know them even more and keep them in my network all the time. So this is the relationship that has been flowering for the past few years. And so I'm excited to have her here today. And let me do a quick introduction. First of all, Bonadeo is so sweet and so kind. And she has this aura with her that is just of a wise woman. And I love talking to her. Yesterday we had a little dry run and the talk was so nourishing. And as you know, Karen Gordon said that this world needs a mother. And so quoting Karen Gordon with that inspiration, I can't wait. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? To show you that type of energy that comes through Bonnie. Now, she's a speaker. She wrote 5 books, best on Amazon books, bestsellers books. She's a coach. She's an author. She's a podcaster, which I've learned a lot from. And more than anything, she is such an amazing communicator. So, of course, naturally, she is a brand specialist and she is a story brand teller. And she's so much more. So I'm going to let her tell you a lot about the things that she's doing, and they are fabulous to help us become a better communicator, to help us have a better brand or version of ourselves. So without further ado, Bonnie, hello, good morning. How are you?
Hello. Am I coming through okay?
Yeah, we still do not have you on a split. But you know what? We're going to have you. Are you muted? Can you guys hear? I think we are still. Here you go. We can see you. Awesome. Let's have everybody tell us if we can hear Bonnie. Can everybody hear Bonnie? Can you hear Bonnie, everybody? Just give us a yes that you can hear us. I think we can. I think everybody is good. No, Kimberly says we can. So here's what we're gonna do, Bonnie. Let's hang out with Let's bring you back in.
No,
Hold on. Try this again.
it was muted.
Hello. Testing.
Nope. Still no. Still no.
Okay, I'm
One
going to
second.
go off camera.
No. Still no. It's okay. Let's call. Yes. Okay.
Because there's a 20-second delay.
Okay.
So
Bonnie,
she was on mute here.
I think you're
She's
fine.
good.
Yes.
She's all good.
We're good. We're good to go.
Yes, all right. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ronit, for letting me be on today. I'm excited.
I'm so excited to have you here, Bonnie. Thank you. Now, Bonnie, you're in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
How is the weather in Atlanta?
Today is beautiful, but it's only like 68 with some scattered clouds. But as long as there is sun shining, I'm happy.
I know. Now, you're used to a sun because you're coming from Arizona originally, right?
Yes, that is correct. I would prefer it to be 100 degrees every day. I'd be okay with that. So I'm cold here in Atlanta.
Me too. I been in Israeli. I'm used to the 85 to 100 degrees, so I prefer that. And in Atlanta, it's very humid. So how is living in Atlanta? The difference between Atlanta and Arizona?
You know, I grew up in a desert, right? And it hot, dry desert. And now I'm in this very lush, humid environment. So for me, it was a great change to be able to experience this because, you know, every day I'm like, what kind of flower is that? What kind of bush is that? I'm so excited about all the beauty that is surrounding me. And of course, one of the most amazing things, and I can't wait to get started, I'm hoping I can get started this weekend, is I actually planted a garden last year and was able to like make my own salsa. I had cilantro and tomatoes and green peppers and jalapenos and you name it. I had this beautiful garden going last year, and I'm anxious to get it going again this year. But you know, I haven't been able to stand in line long enough with my patient level to get into the Home Depot and the nurseries and stuff to get my items. But more of Georgia is opening up every day, and there's more opportunities for us to safely be out in our environment.
Yeah. Now you opened a salon right now in Atlanta. You opened on when Noah Arks just landed on the shore and they sent the dove and you were the dove. So how was it to open? What did you guys do that you think are it will be great to let us know that we should definitely not skip?
Yeah, so Jeff has the salon here, and he's my fiance. For those that don't know, Jeff South, Intrigue Salon, which is one of the reasons why I moved to Atlanta, because he had the brick and mortar business, and my business as a speaker and coach was, of course, didn't could be mobile, could be anywhere. So yeah, so the official date for Georgia to open was April 24th. And that included salons in phase one, which was kind of shocking, I think, to the world in general. And some people were like, this is crazy. And it felt a little crazy for us too, but we ended up opening on April 27th, the Monday following. Uh, and of course, there's a lot, here's what I can tell you guys. When we closed the salon on March 20th, we hadn't stopped working to prepare for the opening. Every day we were preparing for the opening. Every day we were, taking orders for online products and then doing safe curbside pickups every Saturday. So there was nothing but work going on the entire time that we'd been shut down. So we were prepared to open, and a lot of protocols are in place. And you guys, here's what I can tell you. And I did a couple webinars on this as well. So you can always go to my page and see those. But here's kind of the general sense. Part of it is, yes, we have to be safety first. The other part of it is perceived safety. And I'm not saying that in a way that's like, oh, fake it until you make it approach, but you have to be able to think about the mindset that we're in with with society, not just our clients, society. And when you can look at what's the mindset of society, you have to play into that in order for people to feel safe as well. So we're in phase one of our opening, and phase one has certain protocols, and phase two is going to have another set of protocols. And we're just, we're hoping for the best, and there's so many unknowns. We don't know what to expect. So we're just playing it day by day, like all the rest of you are going to be doing as well.
I love that. I love that because a lot of our coaching clients in the beginning, they were so stressed about we don't know what we don't know. Nobody's giving us any direction yet. Everybody's waiting for the first one to go in. And there's so much you can plan. There's so much you can plan. So the easiest thing to actually tell everybody is plan the best that you can. Know how many hours that you need to, how many hours can you offer to sell in your location. You might be a 10-chair salon, 2-chair salon, 50-chair salons, right? I think Jeff has 30-chair salon.
Yeah, I think it's 30.
How can you maximize the day and the shifts to offer the same amount of hours that you offered before, if you can, and plan that. If you plan that, Everything else obviously is going to be a day by day situation. So remember,
Mhm.
if you offered 50 hours a week uh, prior to COVID-19, can you offer that now? And also give a little bit more time to your service, because you're going to have to sanitize in between clients,
Yeah.
right? So those are the facts. Those are the things we do know. So everything else, like you said, is testing out. So once you know that, I think you're not going to be so stressed about it, right?
Yeah, and it's really putting together what you think is going to be best. I mean, here's the first thing. Follow the CDC guidelines, follow your state guidelines. Look to other salons that have been and portrayed as leaders. I know a lot of people have asked us for our protocols. I mean, our client protocols are up on our Facebook page, Intrigue Salon. So you guys can view them there. And, it wasn't about making them fancy or trying to, polish them all up and make them good. It was about making them completely valid and legible, because the expression of perception is reality,
Mm-hmm.
but we're also in a reality is reality too. So we have to show safety, we have to do safety, and we have to be safety.
I love that. That's it. We have to be safety, and we
Mhm.
need to let everybody know that we are at the safest environment, that they are the safest environment that they can be.
And we've gotten phenomenal reviews from clients that have been in our first week saying, I felt very safe in here. And even a nurse expressed, she goes, I think this might be cleaner than our hospital that I work in. But all positive comments that people really appreciated the protocols that we put in place, how we communicated them, and what their expectations were in it as well. Because we didn't want anybody surprised on the approach that we were taking, to be able to have them safely walk in our door, safely have their hair done, and feel safe about coming back again.
Bonnie, it's so good to see your face. Like I said to everybody else, you got such a great aura about you, and you're so sweet and so pleasant to talk to, and you're beautiful. So it's so nice to have it all together.
I think if you
Which
asked my family or friends, they wouldn't say sweet, and would you say sweet and kind? But
well,
thank
it's
you.
true.
I appreciate that.
That's the experience that I've been getting from you. So I love that. Which makes me wanna. It's like you're in the beauty industry, right? But you're started in the business side. So tell us a little bit about why did you move to beauty industry? What happened?
Well, I always started out in the beauty industry. So I went to, when I got into high school, I became more of the rebel without a cause. And I really wanted to go to college, and I really wanted to be, an astronaut or a lawyer. And those were very male dominated roles. And frankly, I wasn't that good at math. And I saw that there was an enormous amount of work involved in both of those. And I got a little defeated in high school. So I decided that I would try to look at a vocational package, and it was agriculture or cosmetology. Those were my choices. And of course, I knew what agriculture was because, a dairy farm was right next door to me in Orange Groves. We lived in this area of North Phoenix that all those things were very close to me. But I didn't know what cosmetology was. So when they said you'd be doing hair, I just kind of laughed and I said, all right, sign me up. And I went through cosmetology school while I was in high school, graduated from high school and cosmetology school in the same week. And I've been in the industry ever since. And I worked behind the chair for the first 4 or 5 years, but I found that my creativity with my hands to be able to do hair, especially back in those days, because there wasn't a lot of education available to us. I found that my creativity was not as good with my hands as it was with my head. And so I thought maybe I could go into the business side of beauty. And that was the direction I took. So I worked for manufacturers, distributors. I worked for PBA for 10 years producing events. And then I, launched out and became an entrepreneur.
Wow, what a career you had. That's pretty amazing.
It's
Now,
been fun.
I love where we're going next. We're going next to the powerful, um, the words that are the most powerful things that we actually own. And the
Mhm.
reason why it's such a dear thing to my heart is because I'm an Israeli. I wasn't born in America. I absolutely, my second language had to be English. My other language was French. So in the home we spoke Hebrew. My family also had French in there. But English was like, it's something that you learn. So when I moved to the States and I got married, I had a different type of English, right? It was more of a textbook type of English. And how I learned my English for real was watching General Hospital every day at 4 p.m. That's how I learned my English. And they had amazing English. I mean, I've learned so much just listening. But then I have to say that over the years, I created my own language. So now it's Ronit's English, right? So whenever you guys hear something, if you ever say, well, what did she say? What does she mean by that? Yeah, it's my language, right? So you guys have to be patient. My friend Stacy Sobel, she always said whenever Ronit is on, I have to take a big cup of coffee and I'm going to have to now translate to English. So anyway, so yeah. But it was so hard for me to find the communication with my clients as when I was a hairdresser, when I started in Boston. So it was just hard for me to find really good communication. And not only the words are so crucial, is how you write is so crucial. And not only that, is how do you add your voice to it? I was recording a webinar the other day and I was listening to it and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I like my voice. I feel like I'm running out of breath when I'm speaking. Or even when I'm on stage, you and I share the stage together. It was really difficult to express sometimes what you really feel, So let's talk about words, because I know you're a storyteller. You believe in storytelling. You coach public speaking. You coach confidence. You have such a great words of such a great ways about helping people with words. So let me know, what do you do? What's your magic with that?
It was one of the things that I discovered was in words was that it was easy for me to speak in public. It was easy for me to speak to people, strangers. I'm the person in the elevator that talks to you. I'm the person standing in line, at the airport or in the bank that is talking to you. I'm saying something. But one of the things that I discovered was that am I speaking to just speak? Am I speaking to create engagement? Am I speaking to lead people on a journey? And that was the learning curve that I had to do, was really having an understanding. And a lot of that came in when I did emotional intelligence training. And then I discovered that, I might be saying words, but were those words connecting with others? And that was the practice I needed to put into play and to be effective, to really be effective as speaker. Because here's what I know to be true. We are human beings and we are emotional first and logical second. We're emotional first and logical second. So that means that we have emotion before we have thought. We have we feel our emotions before we think rationally. And what happens is that our emotions become our form of communication versus our ability to be able to be logical and rational. Now, that's what makes us different as humans compared to animals. Even though we're considered as part of an animal species, is that we have the part of the brain that can rationalize and be logical. And that's where all of this information, that's where our language is formed. Otherwise, dogs would be talking and deer would be talking. We can communicate by language. And so we learn this growing up in our environments and in school, but sometimes when we're in business, we're only basing it on what we know to be true based on our experiences and our upbringing, not what might need to be enhanced or better skilled in business.
Well, in particular, when you said that, I want to bring it into the business of the art of doing hair. Whether you're a stylist communicating to your client, especially now, I think consultations are the most important thing right now. Mm-hmm. So, and you sent me an email this morning, and in the bottom of your signature, it says SOSSaloncoaching.com, which is your webinar that you're doing right now. So just for anybody who's interested on those specific practices, I highly recommend to go see that webinar with Bonnie. SOSSaloncoaching.com. And you will have all those links, of course,
All
today.
those links are active right now, that if they go to that page, they'll be able to do the replays of the webinars and download as well.
Which is,
Download.
thank you. Yes. But there's something underneath that caught my attention. You says, don't be afraid to ask for help. Effective communication can sometimes be the skill that is the hardest to learn. And with changing times like today, it is never too late to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to that, how important words are. We discussed this when we were working, when you and I were doing our dry run, the first one when I was walking with the dogs. I said, what I want the audience to know today is how important to ask the right questions.
Mm-hmm.
And before you ask those powerful questions, it is so important to know what really is the outcome that you're looking for. And we talked about outcome, and then we talk about branding. So for anybody there's three, I would love to know 4 things if you can give us today.
Yeah, so here's where I'm going to start. Words either induce fear or create safety, right? Like there's hardly an in between. You might be able to start out a conversation that feels very safe, and then it starts turning to a more fearful conversation. Sometimes we don't recognize in the words that we're saying and the way that we're communicating with others, whether we're creating safety or inducing fear in people. So we have to be conscious of that. And compassion is the most important product to put on the front end of your communications. Be compassionate, because part of what I've been saying in this whole SOS series of programming that I've been doing is we're not all in the same boat. Everybody's in a different boat right now as to where they're at in their experience with COVID, as to where they're at in their experience of opening or preparing to open, or not even knowing when they're going to open. So there's a lot of unknown right now, and there's a lot of information being put out there. And this is the time that we're going to lose that ability to emotionally connect, but logically apply our words. It's okay to share your story. It's okay to share your fears. It's okay to be vulnerable in these moments. But at the same time, we have to be able to not judge, not blame, and not kind of like aggravate this situation more with what's happening, but to have compassion on the front end of this. I think that's the most important thing. We understand that body language also is a form of communication, and tone is a form of communication. So here we are, we're in our first week opening. One of the most important things we had to do was make sure our team was comfortable with the protocols that they were going to be sharing with their clients. And if they were not confident in that process, then how would the client feel if they weren't? The client would feel uneasy. The client would feel unsafe. So they had to communicate these things in a way that made sense for them to be able to carry it to the next piece.
So what do you do? How do you create the right tone? And how do you create the right body language? And what do you do in order to bring the team and engage the team to not only on COVID-19, in any cases, to buy into your idea, to influence them to carry on your vision? How do you create that tone?
Well, I think first you have to be able to make sure that all of these protocols are clearly written so that your team can understand them. We did a big Zoom call, and we put, and shared all these protocols with them to be able to do that. And that was helpful. And it was somber, though. I have to tell you, it was somewhat somber in sharing all those protocols with the team, because they knew things were going to be different. Things were going to look different. But then at that point, Jeff is such a great leader. Every day he was in the salon walking any new stylist that started up for that day, because obviously we're split shifting, right? So, a certain amount of people have started. The next day, another group of people have started, and so on. And every day he showed up and he walked his team through what these protocols are and how to be able to kind of from the front to the back. So how the front desk was going to manage the client walking in, how the stylist was then going to manage the client from that next piece, and sharing with them all the different pieces and parts and elements that we put into play. And it's so far it's going very well, and it's been very smooth. And a couple hiccups in a few things, a couple resistant clients, but we also have to enforce the policy that we're stating we're doing. We have to enforce it. There's no exceptions right now. Not in phase one. No exceptions.
No exception. Or phase two. I mean, until you feel safe, you have to feel safe. I'm totally with you.
Right.
Bonnie, how do you work with a salon owner, with a business owner, with a stylist that, because I consider anybody needs to have a very good practice of words. If you have to advertise, if you have to have a website, because you don't want to be in the business of working with the wrong clients or having the wrong employees for you. Not that they're not good or bad, just a good match. What do you do in your coaching, in your training, on your creation to help salon owners? And the reason why I'm asking you this, because I value this process so much. Yesterday I had a conversation with one of our customers who I said, well, who is your client? Who do you want it to be? Like, and what messages or what picture you're going to use, right? So what do you do? Like, walk me through it. Walk us through it.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I kind of, the philosophy that I work under is mainly under an emotional intelligence bridge work. Okay. Plus I am StoryBrand certified, which is all about creating clarity in your messaging. So whether you're a leader and you're trying to communicate to your team or your clients, clarity in your messaging. If you're trying to do marketing or social media posts, or you want to go live on Facebook, clarity in your messaging. And, a lot of that is the simplicity of understanding the sequence of connection with people. So if you understand that there is, first, you need to make connection with people. Second, you need to be able to make sure you stay in a space of compassion. And third is curiosity. Like, having a level of curiosity is one of the most valuable skill sets you can have. So instead of saying what you want to say, ask what you'd like to know. It's really easy for us to all be like advisors and say, oh, well, here's what I want you to do. And think about it from the consultation. The client may have a very different perception walking in after not being in a salon for 6 weeks. They might be that ultra blonde client with, 3/4 inch regrowth that says, I can't do this anymore. I can't, this was too much for me. I didn't know how to, I didn't want to fix it on my own. It was too dangerous, but I can't look like this anymore if this happens again. And they might want a whole different conversation. So you can't go into that assumption of, okay, great, so we're going to, touch up your regrowth. It might be, might be more of that, how have you been making the connection? I know you've struggled with your hair probably over the last 6 weeks. I'm so glad to see you back. What are you thinking that you want to go to from here? Where do you want to go next? Do you want to keep doing the same thing, or is there something different you have in mind? That's your starting point right there. Like, we have to be able to be curious enough to listen to what these clients want and what's next for them, because ultimately we want them to feel safe coming back, but we also want them to adjust the way that they're wearing the hair so we're not losing them as a client.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, we don't want them to say, just take me back to my natural color and then be done with it, and we don't see them again. We want to encourage them to be curious what they want and how to be able to manage that. So I work with my clients that are salon owners and suite stylists. I work with them in a way that powerfully helps them to create the language they need to start off in a great conversation.
I love that.
It's a great start.
It's a good start. And for sure, you really want to be very, listening, it's it's a powerful word, but how you listening is really the action that drives that emotion like you were talking about. So I would like to actually enhance that and even add to it and say, you're female or you're male, like Bonnie says, that, you need to listen to how they are and what they want to change. But also, you really want to dig inside and say, and ask them, how do you want to feel today when you leave here today? Do you want to feel powerful? Do you want to feel beautiful? Do you want to feel sexy? Because, it's so important to identify the feeling that they want to get from there, and then you can suggest and recommend what to do. And by the way, this is springtime. People have been in quarantine. They all gonna come like herds, and they would want to have a change. So make sure you build the time for a change, right? They all gonna want to change. So this is a perfect opportunity to create a whole new look, and get them excited and get them feel really great about themselves, because that's what they really want, right? So the reds would want to be redder, the blondes would want to be blonder, and the darker ones, God knows what they want to be. So find out what they want to be. Right? Correct? And add the time.
Yeah.
Add a little more time. I know this is really crucial, the time element right now.
Yeah. And, we've really done a great job of walking them through, the safety protocols first, so that the minute they're in the chair, they're comfortable being in the chair. Then it becomes about them.
Yeah.
Then it becomes about them and what their experience is going to be. And I say that, that's a big part of what we need to do now. We've been really pushing ourselves. I mean, look at all industry, not just ours, pushing ourselves to have more success, and losing time with our family, losing time in elements. Now all of a sudden we got to be very value driven, but not value driven by price or freebies. We have to be value driven based on experience moving forward. It's all about the experience moving forward now.
Absolutely.
That's how we're going to maintain the clients that we need. That's how we're going to gain the staff that we need. That's how we're going to survive and stay in business for the long term.
I love that. I love the value base. Value base is number one, is value base. Now, Bonnie, what's the difference between branding and marketing?
This is my philosophy on it. I'm a big fan of Seth Godin as a marketing guru. So I love all of the content that he puts out and the descriptors that he uses. But here's what I say it is that marketing is sales with a plan, which means that it's kind of your toolbox. It's all of the things that are going to support you to be able to be effective at marketing, communicating, building, growing, profiting, all of that stuff. And branding is sales with a soul. It's personal. It's your values. It's storytelling. It's making that connection without it having to be about a sale on the other end. It's nurturing the process of having people feel comfortable with you and what you're offering in that point. And those two things, though, there's one key word that is in both of them, and it's sales.
Yes.
And words sell. Pictures can tell a story, but words sell. And that's why sometimes the language we're using, the words, whether we're speaking them, whether we're writing them, however we're communicating them, words is what is going to support you to sell and increase your bottom line.
Yeah.
Not just pictures.
So
We
value.
have to be able to carry those.
So can we give an example of what would be words that sell? Words that sell. And obviously value has to be behind it, the promise of what we are going to sell.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of words that sell is being very connected to where people are at right now. So we know that people may not feel safe. Like I'm not ready to go in a restaurant and sit down and eat. Yet I've been doing takeout
Totally.
in a restaurant for a month. Right? So
Yeah.
what's the difference? I don't know. The difference is that I understand the safety measures I'm using on myself. I'm not trusting the safety measures that other people are doing for themselves. And here's a statement. People don't do things to you. They do things for themselves. Right? So it's nobody's intentionally wanting to hurt me. They're just doing what they think is the right thing for themselves. But I need to also do what's right for me too, without offending others. So I know I'm not ready to go into restaurants just yet, but many people are ready to go into salons because we don't want to look bad. We don't want our hair looking crappy. We don't want it overgrown or, for the men, a lot of male clients are like, I can't have it touching my ears. I can't have this stuff going on in the back here. We want to look good because it does make us feel better. So we really have to kind of manage that part of this communication to be able to support us in that connection piece. So pain, pleasure. You're either focusing on pain or you're focusing on pleasure. Here's the other element to this that I share a lot in my coaching with my clients. You don't want to be selling the boat taking you to the most beautiful island in history. You want to be selling the most beautiful island in history. So that's the outcome that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what we end up doing is we talk about things that are the process. Like we talk about, balayage is a technique that's going to be able to do that. That's not what you want. The client doesn't care about the technique. The client needs to hear the back end. They need to hear that this is a natural looking that grows out more evenly and gives you that sun-kissed look all the way through your, experience of wearing that until you come back and have it done. So that's what they want to hear.
So the journey is really not what you want to focus. You want to focus on the promise of what you're going to give at the end of the journey. And then,
Yes.
and what are the words to use right now in terms of, if you can give us like some good words that we can use right now in terms of connecting with our clients and with our staff.
Yeah. And you know what? This is simple. We're all watching the news right now. We're all reading. We are so aware. We're hyper aware right now. Use the words that our leaders and our high level professional people are using to make the connection with you. So I heard something the other day and it was kind of strange to me. It was like they used the word from a salon perspective, triage. And I'm thinking, okay, that's not a word I would ever use because it sounds like a hospital term, right?
Yeah.
But we're using words like phase one. We're using words like protocols. We're using all of these words that are being used in society right now because that's what the clients need to know, that we are the high-end leaders of safety and professionalism, just like what's being spoke, just like what others are doing.
Bonnie, this is so valuable. So I just want to open really quick to anybody who has a question for Bonnie. Type in your question right here. We have just about a few more minutes left for our discussion this morning. Excuse me. But this is so profound, Bonnie. I wasn't even thinking. Use the words that are really using right now. It's very acceptable to use the words right now to create the emotion, to create the outcome of the emotion, the island, if you can. Not the journey. Nobody wants to know about the journey, but they want to know that at the end of the journey, they get that beautiful island.
Yeah. I mean, when a client walks in the door, the journey is for them to see the safety measures that we have in place so that they can feel safe sitting in that chair and having their hair done. That's their destination, walking out of that salon looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's their destination. But we do have to take them through the journey a little bit, but we're focusing on the safety journey to be able to do it. So our tagline is, we're servants of safety first and beauty second.
Well, that's valuable. Thank you for that. Yeah. That's really great, good tips for all of us right now. How to identify our brand, how now to make our brand all about what's current and use the current words. That's it.
Yeah. Use the words that the pros are using. Yeah.
Awesome.
And certainly that's a lot of what I work with my clients on for coaching right now. So a lot of them, I'm helping them with their protocols, getting them set up to be able to open. And of course, we're all in a layered effect of, how the country is opening at this point. So
well, that's great. Well, for everybody who's very interested, Bonnie has a group coaching right now going on. There's a few spots are open. So if anybody wants to get a really good specific and very personalized branding and protocols. What else, Bonnie, that you think is very important right now?
I think looking at kind of the marketing and branding approach, you
Yeah,
know, how to be able to support you in that communications with your team and your clients right
yeah.
now to get back to sales, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to if we want to be in business, we got to get back to sales.
Oh,
How can we
absolutely,
get
guys.
back to sales?
Absolutely, especially now, we have to get into the profitable area and not the unprofitable area.
Yes.
So, anybody who's interested, it's bonniebonadeo.com, as you can read right in the bottom. Excuse me. And of course, SOS Salons coaching.com. It's the webinar that is being offered right now as well. So,
Yeah,
I
it's
want
the landing page that people can go to access
to
the coaching,
register.
the webinar, and the free downloads.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Bonnie. This was so, so
Thank
valuable. Thank you for
you.
being here. It's amazing. I love to speak more about storytelling and maybe public speaking next time. What do you think?
Yes, let's do it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so you guys, it is Wednesday. I feel like it's the beginning of the week. I don't know. It could be the end of the week. I don't know. They all look the same to me these days. We will be back here on Friday at 11 o'clock in the morning, which is Eastern Standard Time, with Dr. Evan Hirsch, and we're going to talk about how to build your immune system. Bonnie, you're going to be guarding a lot this week, and a little surprise, we are going to have a master garden builder that will be with us at one of those episodes coming up. So all plant-based eating. So we're gonna focus on that. But thank you so much for that, Bonnie. I love that. Thank you guys. Thanks, ladies. Thanks, guys. Hope to see you on Friday. Come on in. I hope you can share Facebook Live. Share our words out there to help more and more people get back and thrive. Love you guys. Hi, Anna. Thank you. Thanks, Bonnie. Love you. Bye. Hold on, Bonnie. Don't hang up yet.